number one, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Not rap songs anymore. Like I said, I used to love California Love, but I don't know that. Like I said, I think we firmly put rap karaoke on the back burner.
Yeah, just
we
stay
learned
away
anything
from
in
it.
life, we're good on that. You adjust and you move on. You make better decisions.
Yeah, listen, you got to learn from every experience. It's growth.
Mistakes for me.
We can't just have all giants. What kind of small guys are
Like, he's got to get him. He's got to get him.
We got to pack it up.
He said, because if we don't get it, somebody else is going to get it.
And drink straight out the bottle.
Cheers.
Hey. Welcome, gang.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Yeah. It's the WFK Knows podcast. It's Patty V, Dave Rainey. We got a special guest today. Mr. Ben, as he introduced himself, Mintzy, as the world affectionately knows him.
Yeah, man, I'm thrilled to be here. Down here in New Orleans, I'm riding in Crew of Ferret on Juvenile's float tomorrow, which I'm sure will not be boring at all. And then going to Shorty Gras after. I appreciate, I've been following y'all on Twitter for a little bit. I guess it's been a little bit, and saw I've been following the rise of it, and happy to be on with you guys.
Hell yeah. No, happy to have you. It was crazy. I was telling you beforehand, but I'm going to bring it up here too. I was texting Dave as soon as you reached out originally. I was like, man, just the testament of somebody like Mintzy reaching out to us just feels like we're doing the right thing. So moving in the right direction, having you on, it's such a blessing. So I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. Like I said, I'm whatever I can do to support New Orleans, I'll always do. And I love what y'all are building. And, y'all also, really like what y'all are doing with Tulane. My grandfather went there. I've got a good relationship with Tulane as well. And, I love y'all's Pelican stuff too. And so, yeah, happy to be here and, whatever I can do to support it.
Heck yeah. Well, we can get into the Tulane stuff in a minute. We'll probably talk some Pels. I want to pick your brain and see if we can get a clip out of you.
I don't think that's going to be too difficult.
You mentioned you're here for Mardi Gras. You're here riding a parade with Juvenile. Tell me more about that. What do you expect?
I mean, I think it's going to be freaking wild. That it always amazes me. The Barstool stuff. I'm just a dude from Monroe, Louisiana originally, and like the way the stuff I get to do day to day, like I just like shake my head. You ever told me growing up, like, hey man, you're just gonna be like riding on a float with Juvenile and Crew of Ferret.
It's insane.
Trying to back really that ass up, like it's so insane to me. And it's gotten to where like it's Barstool, it's reached so big that like, I feel like I have 3 or 4 moments a week where I'm just shaking my head, like, how is this reality?
What is this life?
Yeah, it's just like I feel like I live in a simulation. I say this all the time. I could live 1,000 lifetimes on Earth, and this is the only one where this would happen. It's like, and I know it. I'm very lucky and, very grateful. And I always try to stay, as I'm sure we'll get into it, the road's known to get a little bumpy and rocky from time to time, but I try to always keep a good attitude and just realize I'm lucky to get to do the stuff I do. And, and I'm always on the New Orleans front. It's always special. New Orleans will always be special to me. I grew up, anybody grows up in Louisiana, unless you're from like Shreveport, maybe a little bit.
Right.
Anybody else is Saints fans, and I've been a Saints fan since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I lived down here from 2009 to 2014 out of college. Well, out of college the first time.
What a fun time.
Oh, yeah. Went to the Super Bowl, went to all the games. I've been to all 3 Saints NFC Championship games. I froze in the snow in Chicago in 06. Went to the Rams, was there in the Vikings game. I've always been diehard. And then, my thing with New Orleans, I guess I see my role as just being national with Barstool. I feel like I get to show all these stoolies and all these people that are from all over the country. Like, I couldn't even tell you how many times I get DMs, like, asking for restaurant recs or music recs or what do I do in New Orleans? So I kind of feel like my role is to, like, nationally kind of point people in the right direction. But, like, the thing with New Orleans that's so cool to me is what a melting pot of just history and music and characters and food. And, I'm a very tiny part of the cog, but I love to just contribute to it in a positive way as much as I can. Yeah. But I don't think, people mess with me stuff. Like I get like the King of the South joke stuff. Like I'm a very like, as far as my relationship with New Orleans, I'm a very small part of the big thing, and I'm just happy to contribute and try to shine a good light on it where I can.
Hell yeah. No, what'd you say earlier? You have to live here for 7 years to be considered a local?
Yeah, so that's what's funny. And especially one thing I said off the air I'll bring up on here, but just, I'm a dude from Monroe originally, and so there's always that funny dynamic if you're from Louisiana. And, all the NOLA and Baton Rouge and Lafayette people, like, if you're from above I-10, they just, like, roll their eyes at you, And so it's North Louisiana is a different deal. It's, South Louisiana, I say it all the time. I mean, it's kind of its own like unique thing in the country. There's nowhere like it. There's nowhere it gets wilder in America. Period.
Yeah.
Whether it be Lafayette or LSU game days or NOLA, Mardi Gras, just everything. I mean, I've never been anywhere that turns it up like South Louisiana.
Nope.
But I still, I lived here, like I said, 09 to 14 when I was just gambling, and I've got a lot. We can get into some fun stories of those days.
Oh, we will.
I was top 200 in the world in online poker, and I used to crush it at Harris NOLA a lot and Boulder Watch Biloxi. And then I always wanted to move back here, and I got to with Barstool, but then that took a little bit of a different direction too. But my current state on NOLA that I love is I'm here for what I say about it. I'm here for everything that matters. I always make Mardi Gras. I'm really involved with Hawks of the Cause. I always do a weekend of Jazz Fest.
Oh yeah.
During fall, I'll do a few weekends. I mean, I feel like going forward, you'll see me down here like 6 to 8 weeks a year, and that's kind of where it's headed.
I don't even know where to start. Like, there's so many questions.
Oh yeah, go with it. That's what we're here, man.
As
we're
you're
here to
going
give
through,
the people what they want.
I'm like, I want to ask about that. I want to ask about that. I want to ask about that. So let's start with this. You mentioned people hit you up for Rex all the time. We talk about food a lot on this podcast. We talk about food a lot just on our network. What are the Rex? What does Mintzy like to share with others?
Okay, well, so the biggest problem is people always ask, like, what's your favorite New Orleans restaurant? Like, how do you answer that? I mean, like, you have to ask exactly what genre, food. Are you talking seafood, po' boys, Vietnamese, whatever? We got everything. I'll say this, as far as, like, if somebody was going to ask me, like, what a classic NOLA restaurant that, like, is special to me, I love Clancy's uptown. I've had a lot of special experiences there. That's one of my absolute favorites. But, man, you'd have to do a big list. I'm a big GW Finn's fan. Love that. Love Pesh. Po' Boys wise, love Don Melissa's. Love Parkway. It's just there's so many. I'm real close with I love the Blue Oak Barbecue guys. They're two of my best friends. I'm real involved with those guys. I think they do a lot for the community, not just food-wise. But, man, it's one of those things. I also want to mention, I used to live by Pascal's Manale. So I go sitting there with Uptown Tea, shucking oysters, NOLA legend, eat some barbecue shrimp. I mean, I'm in there a good bit too.
Yeah.
But that's always the most loaded question ever. Like, what's your favorite restaurant in New Orleans? I'm like, well, here's 25 of them that I probably go to.
Yeah.
Pick one.
I like Mr. B's if I'm going to do like lunch in the quarter.
I used to work in the quarter when I was in college. I worked at a hotel, so of course everybody stays there. Where should we go eat? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah.
Right? Like you say, it's just too much.
You're almost better asking, where should I not go?
Right.
Yeah.
I can tell you some places. Not
I do too. I ain't saying it on here.
Right.
But no, I agree. I mean, I'll say this. I try to always direct people away from the touristy stuff as much as I can. Invariably, though, these national people, they're going to go to Bourbon. You can tell them, like, hey, like, I don't go to Bourbon Street. They're going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But I always try to send people to Frenchman. I'm a huge NOLA music fan, so I love popping around Frenchman, like DBA, Blue Nile, Cafe de Grill, just popping around. I mean, the beauty of Frenchman Street is you don't even have to know what bands are playing. You can just walk around, and there's going to be world-class music in every single place you duck into.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. And then, I always love going to shows at Tipitina's, Maple Leaf as well. Those are kind of two of my favorites, too. But
Staples.
I'm a big, as I've gotten older, too, and also just – I don't drink alcohol, and so like I don't do the dive bar thing as much, but I do love good restaurants and live music, and so that's kind of the way as I go about it. I do sporting events or live music.
We were just out a couple weeks ago with my cousin from Dallas. It was like his first real time out here, and that's what we kept telling. We wanted to go see Bourbon. I was like,
no, I get that.
But I was like, we should go to Frenchman. We ended up not going. We're like, we should go to Frenchman. Like, if you want to experience it with the music and everything.
It was also cold and raining.
Yeah,
that was not a good night.
I'm the same way. The music is what does it for me for Frenchman. Like, I'd love to just go sit and just vibe out to some.
You never know who
jazz.
you're going to stumble upon too, whether it's a major jazz act or, I mean, back in the day, I used to go to Blue Nile a lot, and I remember the Revivalists. The Revivalists used to play at Blue Nile all the time, and now they're just massive band, and it's just like, man, I saw them when there was 12 people in a room watching them. Like, you never know what you're going to see. It's amazing.
No, and like one of my favorite things I do in New Orleans if I'm around, and I may stay around for Monday night for this, but like I love the George Porter Monday nights at Maple Leaf. He plays two shows. He does like a 7 and 10 p.m. Freaking legend, funky meters basis. You can go see him, pay $20. You're in there with 50, 60 people on a Monday night. I mean, dude's like an icon. But that's always kind of one of my. That's kind of a NOLA thing. Stuff like that under the radar. You're not getting that in like literally any other city.
Right.
And so I always look at the WWOZ live wire music calendar, on WWOZ.org. I mean, I'm checking that every time I come down here.
Yeah, we used to wind, like when I worked at the hotel, me and the lady that worked the front desk, we'd be on like a Thursday night, and that'd just be how we go wind down. Just walk over to Blue Nile, pay the $10 or whatever, and just catch whoever was playing. Yeah. Stay there till midnight, and then just go home. That was spend an hour listening to music, have a couple drinks, and that's how you wind down for the night.
Also, depending on what you're into, Blue Nile is also a very pungent place.
Yeah.
Fair.
It gets a little crazy over there.
That's the truth. Frenchmen too around Mardi Gras and Halloween and stuff just really it goes off. But still, like I said, I get down here a good bit still. I will say, I mean, I was always a little guilty of being in the uptown bubble a little bit. You get to where the uptown thing, I love it, but it's just so convenient because everything's 5 or 10 minutes away. Obviously, Tulane's a huge part of that. And so I would kind of, I kind of used to live like real close to Spear Seafood and Fat Harry's and Pascal's and Charlie's Steakhouse and, walk to Frat Street. So I would just kind of kicking around that bubble a good bit. It got me a little lazy, honestly. I need to get out more in the city, but it's just everything was so
it's easy,
so convenient there, and a lot of the people I know that live down here, you get a lot of like SEC transplants uptown, and so that's where I feel like I know people everywhere, but that's where like the majority of my relationships in NOLA are.
Yeah, well, obviously you being an uptown guy, that's what I'm gonna call you. He's an uptown guy. Try following Tulane a little bit. I know you're an Ole Miss guy, but talk to me a little bit about your relationship with Tulane. I know you said you had family that went there. Tell me about how you feel about the program. Let's just talk about Tulane. That's really what I'm trying to do.
So my grandfather went to Tulane, and he actually graduated at 18 and got out of med school at 21. He was a naval surgeon in World War II. Pretty wild. So because of that, I've always kind of followed Tulane, and I love just seeing what they built. Obviously, the Willie Fritz era just spectacular. Tulane's done such a good job in this NIL era too. They've just really crushed the transfer portal, and that's the whole thing. It's a different ball game now. And when you look at a fan base like Tulane, obviously the numbers aren't as big as you got a private school and you got, a lot of people from the north and kind of from all over. What you don't have maybe in fan base numbers, you have in dollar bills.
100%.
So this NIL world, look at, for example, them hiring John Summerall from Troy, who I think is a spectacular hire. Troy offered him $1.4 million to come up to stay their coach, and Tulane came in and said, "Here's 6 years, $20 million. It's $3.5 million a year."
Yeah. Those are
different ball game, Yeah. He's out the door, like he probably loved Troy, but we're talking about a totally different deal.
Yeah.
And Tulane's done such a good job. And one of the things I just love the most about Tulane is just I love the stadium uptown. And when I was down here, I lived down here from 09 to 14. They're playing the Superdome. You just didn't have a vibe there. And you got a 70,000 person dome stadium. It's just not it's not a college atmosphere. And now this stadium they've built uptown, and like that Ole Miss game was just, you couldn't even move in there, how packed it was. And I like the way it's set up with the suites all along the with the home sideline. And, they've just got it set up. It's real easy to get in and out. I don't know. I just love that they did that. And I remember I went to the Central Florida game there in 2018 after it opened, and then I went to the Ole Miss game this year. But I just think it's cool what they built. And, obviously it's tough to lose a guy like Willie Fritz, but I don't see how you could have done any better than John Summerall. I really don't. That guy's a winner everywhere he goes.
I agree.
And so I think this just, this is what we're dealing with in college football now. I think the train's going to roll on, and I think things are looking really stable. But it's been so fun to follow the last 2 years. That USC Cotton Bowl comeback, that's not something. I was in Cooter Browns watching it. It was just unbelievable.
Hell yeah. I love that you were like local for all this important stuff. I think of Barstool Mintzy, right, as like the Barstool guy. He's been New York or Chicago or wherever you are now. So, knowing you're here for all the special stuff is kind of cool to know.
Yeah, man. I'm really, and like I said, I try to really stay involved. And my favorite people are down here. I'll just say that. They're like, we've always had a fun lineage of like all the Ole Miss people that end up down here.
Oh, yeah.
Or some of the great Ole Miss people. And then that's gone back forever. Even back to the Mannings and Deuce. And there's always, not like Ole Miss is that big. NOLA's a melting pot, but there's a good Ole Miss influence down here. And I still run around with all the Ole Miss hellions uptown. And it's funny, it's been going on 15 years. I land Wednesday night at the airport, and, my buddies are like, I'm like 40, so they're late 30s. I text them. I expect them to be home. They're like, "Oh, man, we're all up at Reds, bombing beers." I'm like, same as it ever was. It's like 08, 2023. it's like comforting in a way, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't change. Do they have families or is it?
Yeah, like one of them's got like a newborn baby, and his wife's, he's always like, oh, I'm going to be out an hour or two, and then it like comes in at 1 or 2 a.m. I'm just like, yep.
Sounds like our nights out, right?
Yeah, it's like nothing's. It's like, but it's like comforting to know that like the time is a flat circle.
Oh, it 100%. My wife gives me crap all the time because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be home at 10 o'clock, and then she knows that means 2 a.m.
Well,
or
we
3
were just
a.m.
talking about this last week or whatever it was. He found a study that said men need 2 guys' nights a week
Yeah.
for their mental health. And we were saying, I don't think I could do 2 nights a week because when I go out, it doesn't end at 11 o'clock like I
Yeah.
think it's gonna. it ends at 3, 4 a.m.
Even if there's nothing going on, even if I'm not
Nothing.
even drinking, I'll just be out. I don't know what it is. If it's like I just don't want to miss something that's happening in the moment, I don't know what it is. I need to be there.
No, I hear you. My thing with it is back when I was here 09 to 14, that was back when I used to turn it up a lot more than I do now. And, I mean, it was like our nights out would be, you go get food or happy hour somewhere, and then you go see some music somewhere, and then you go out again at 1 or 2 a.m. to we used to always go to Le Bon Ton on Magazine uptown. We used to call that bar the Vortex because it would suck you in at 1 or 2 a.m. and spit you out at 8 in the morning when
Yeah,
the sun was up.
you walk out and it's sun. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
and
whoa.
you're just like, what am I doing with my life? But I've gotten now in my, like I said, I mean, I feel young, but I'm 40. So my thing with it now is I still like, it's a lot more day events, and I'll go see shows and stuff. But you don't. I've tried to cut out the real late night stuff. That's just kind of how you have to evaluate.
Yeah.
I want to shout out another late night spot. We're talking about places you can get sucked in and spit out in the daylight. You were uptown. You go to Snake and Jake's at
Oh
all?
yeah, the bar with the Christmas lights, man. Yeah, I've definitely been in there.
Yeah.
Good bit.
Yeah, that place used to, as a college college young adult, man, I would be in there and get lost. I wouldn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's still look, and I believe that nothing's changed. There. The lights are still up. People are still getting stuck in there late at night.
All right, I got a question.
Yeah,
I've been
go for
seeing you rocking Chiefs gear. I know you're a Saints fan. I want to know: are you a Chiefs fan? Are you
So the Chiefs
are you a
thing-
Swiftie?
No,
That's the
I'm
other
not
question.
a Swiftie at all. I can tell you that. What I am, though, the Chiefs stuff for me is only because Patrick Mahomes and my voice sound alike.
Okay.
So it's a content thing because his voice and mine literally sound. We both have that. And it's because he's from Tyler, East Texas, and I'm from North Louisiana, so it's kind of a similar area with the drawl. But, I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people, when he'll do an interview, I just get blown up. Like, that sounds exactly like you. And so
I never I never realized
Yeah.
that until you said it.
so that's the Mahomes thing. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm just it's a content thing where I'll do like fake Mahomes interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Saints
I've seen
fan.
that.
The only thing with the Chiefs is just because our voices are alike. I mean, I love watching them play football, but no, I'm diehard black and gold. Like I said, I mean, been to all 3 NFC championships. I moved down here in fall '09, went to 8 games, went to both playoff wins.
Hell yeah.
I went to the.
Good luck, charm.
Yeah, here's a fun, quick story of my Super Bowl story. So, I was playing a World Series of Poker in Tunica, Mississippi. This is a few days before the Super Bowl. Wasn't planning on going to the Super Bowl. I was pretty broke. I'm playing a $580 event, I believe, and I get 5th for like $7K in it. And I just immediately, it was Thursday, and I was like, man, money's going to come and go in life. The Saints, this black and gold Super Bowl, I ain't missing. So I just right when I got the money, booked a Memphis to Miami flight, got a $1,200 ticket, front row, upper deck. Nowadays, that would be impossible.
Yeah.
And, got to be there for the ambush onside and Porter pick 6. And, but I got to go just because I got 5th in that Tunica poker tournament. So, like I said, the money does come and go, but being there for that, I'll never forget it.
Hindsight. Good thing you went to that one because they haven't been back.
No, and the thing is, man, you never. It's tough though. It's such a tough thing, and I think it's because of my poker background. I look at it differently, but the culture and society on the championships or bust thing, I get it because ultimately that's what you're viewed by. But you got 32 teams and only one can be happy. I mean, that's you're talking about 3%, 3.5%.
Yeah.
And so, when you get top 4 of 32 and you lose in the NFC Championship, you're still top 12% in the world of what you do. That's very successful, but it's very hard to understand that in the heated moment.
Yeah.
But, I was in the Dome and obviously the 18 NFC Championship game. And the only way I got through that mentally, I was like, I swore to, when I saw the Saints win the Super Bowl and I was there, I had a moment where I was like, I swear to, I'm not going to bitch ever again because I got to see this once in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And that was tested very hard in 2018, to say the least. But, I mean, just getting to see the Saints, win the Super Bowl, and that's just something. Like, no matter what happens, it happened, and, we'll always have it.
So what's your take now on everything going on this offseason? I know, obviously, Drew Brees came out the other day talking about, hey, we have lofty expectations. Of course, we're going to boo the team sometime, or whatever it is. He didn't say those things exactly, but basically along those lines, what do you think of the Saints right now?
There's a lot of stuff I don't like, to be transparent. I think you're stuck in a situation right now that's like purgatory. You got a lot of older guys on the roster, and I get why they did the Derek Carr thing last offseason because, you see – ultimately, the window is open because of how bad the NFC South was. And, they ended up 9-8. They could have easily won 10 or 11 games and won that division. I think the Green Bay blowing that game, ultimately really came back and costed them. When you look back on the season, that was the one that really got away. And Green Bay ended up getting to the playoffs because of it. But I think the situation right now is brutal because – it just feels rudderless, and when you got guys like Cam Jordan and Demario Davis and Honey Badger on the team, hell no, you're not gonna tank and rebuild. These guys are at the very end of their primes. They're leaders. They're warriors. Like all the people saying they need to tank, that's never gonna freaking happen, And not especially when you got all these veteran guys. But the problem right now that I think, and Mickey Loomis preaches this all the time. He's like the Saints are about continuity, like the Steelers, and that's why he wants to keep Dennis Allen. He doesn't want to blow it up. And I respect that to an extent, but when you see stuff, the players don't like Dennis. A lot of people don't like Dennis Allen. I think it's very, very obvious. You can see it. Everybody knew it, that Jameis touchdown at the end of the year, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I hear rumors and stuff, so I don't want to get into it too much on here without it all being factual. Right. But I'm sure y'all hear the same stuff I hear, and I just feel like Allen and Mickey Loomis have two. I don't want to say they're I don't know. I feel like Allen's got too much power for head coach, and I think he's too safe. And
he's got too long of a leash.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is when you look at this offensive coordinator situation right now, which has kind of been a Chinese fire drill in the offseason. You're interviewing Luke Getsy. If they hire Luke Getsy, I'm going to lose.
Oh, my God.
But here's the thing. Think about it, though. If you're an NFL young coach on the way up, Allen's almost in a lame duck coaching spot. This has got to be an OC job you don't want, because there's such a good chance that Allen's on the way out after next year if the year doesn't go well.
Yeah.
And so it's not a very desirable spot.
Well, you could make the argument that if you come in, you get the offense humming, you make the offense look good, but the team overall doesn't do well, and Dennis goes, you could be next in line. That's an argument that's out there, right? But it is. But if that'd be something like an established offensive coordinator would do. You're not going to be Gerard Johnson or one of these guys that they were interviewing and take that chance.
No,
right?
I don't,
like you're saying.
Yeah, and I just think the thing is, look, a couple things on the Derek Carr thing. I will say this. He got the shit kicked out of him last year, the whole year, and nobody gave him any credit for that. I remember that he had that awful game against Tampa, but he should have never played in that. He got so hurt in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And he was tough. The problem is his toughness doesn't solve the field vision problem. And, his field vision, there's a couple throws a game, he just doesn't see linebackers dropping in coverage or safeties in zones. He holds on to the ball too long. I don't think the ball decisively comes out. He'll make some great throws. He's got a great arm. I'm not saying he's not talented. He's just not decisive enough. And he also turns the ball over. And then he also makes $37 million. So there's some problems there.
Diving deeper into that too. He's not a perfect quarterback, but he's not the worst quarterback.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think you can win with him.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of it was the offensive line stuff was so bad. I remember that Tennessee game at the end of the year. Carr's not a guy that's mobile enough. Sometimes you have a mobile quarterback, you can kind of hide some offensive line deficiencies. Mm-hmm. He's not that guy. So I don't put everything on him. But having said that, it just doesn't seem like, what do they say? If you love New Orleans, it'll love you back. It doesn't feel like the vibe.
Well, no, that's right. That's what I was going to get at. That was my next take with what I was saying. I'm like, listen, he's not perfect. He's good enough. There's no leadership on this team right now. So
I feel like on the defense, DeMario and Honey Badger and Cam Jordan, but on the offensive side.
I take that back. Yeah. I specifically mean when it comes to him, when it comes to the quarterback position, when it comes to the offense, when you got Dennis Allen kind of leading the show.
There is leadership at the quarterback position, but it's not the starter.
It's not the starter. Well, the backup's not. Right. You don't want that guy starting.
But Jameis,
I don't think he'll be around. I don't think he'll.
No, I don't think so either. But he was more of a leader than 100%. Derek Carr was, which is kind of a problem.
So what I'm getting at though is when you have a guy like that who is making mistakes like that, who is clearly not seeing linebackers or missing some throws sometimes, and then he's yelling at people for not doing their job, then it leads to a lot of headbutting, stuff's getting out of the locker room. It gets messy, and then it's not fun.
Yeah, and I don't think, like I said, it comes back to I just don't think the players respect Dennis Allen that much.
Yeah.
And I think, like, they respected Sean Payton, and I don't know, it's just a weird spot. You know, you look at it, I mean, you got to keep thinking you got a shot to win this NFC South. And, you know, you win the division, you get a home playoff game, you never know. Look at Tampa this year. I mean, they went 9-8. They won the division. They smacked Philly. They, you know, almost made the NFC Championship.
That was crazy.
I mean, that's not, you know, that's, if you can win your division and have a home playoff game, look, I know that doesn't mean you're like a top 2 or 3 team in the NFC, but that's worth doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a weird spot because there's no dominant team in the division.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It just feels like the other things that I'm watching real close this offseason, I don't think Alvin Kamara or Lattimore on the team next year. I hear they're both unhappy.
Yeah.
And I'm real curious to see what happens with both those guys. But the stuff I've heard, I would be surprised if Lattimore's saying.
The Lattimore one. Kamara, I kind of understand he's getting on the older end of the running back age. I don't want him to go anywhere because he's one of my favorite players.
Skill set.
And he's one of, and
I don't think he's got a lot of miles on him either.
No,
I
the people that say he's kind of washed, like you very clearly see it when he's got the blocking. He's still Alvin Kamara. Like he's still just as good as he was. But he's on the older end of a running back, so you can kind of understand it. The Lattimore one is basically choosing Dennis Allen over Lattimore.
Yeah, they definitely got some problems.
That doesn't make any. Cornerbacks of that caliber are too hard to come by. I know he's been hurt the last 2 years, whatever. He's too good to choose Dennis Allen over.
Is he? Is he though?
Yes.
Let's talk about it for a second, because Dennis Allen has shown nothing, but he can literally take a guy off the street and be like, "Guess what? Now you're a Pro Bowl cornerback."
Debo and Lante Taylor both look really good right now too.
Yeah.
So he's got some young guys on the way up that look good.
I mean, he's proven.
Well,
he can
Lante
develop
got benched a
cornerback.
couple times.
Well, because they're playing him out of position.
I know.
If we're being honest, that's a whole nother discussion.
I know.
Whole nother discussion.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the return they get for me. Like for me,
They're
everybody's
not gonna get a lot for him. I mean,
right.
He makes a lot of money. Yeah, I know. I mean,
that's
I think
the
he's
issue.
A second or third round pick. Is what's coming.
That's the issue.
It's
Is you're
unfortunate, but it just is what it is.
you're trading them and you're not really getting much.
You're gonna get salary cap relief.
Yeah.
Does that even? You know, the Saints always.
I don't know. It's just, I think what hurts is they're from the best time over the last few, that 2018, 2019, 2020 vibe.
I mean, from 17 through 20, I
Man.
mean, you went 11-5, 13-3, 13-3, and 12-4.
Yeah.
You know, who does that? It's
Yeah.
pro football.
Yeah.
You don't, you know, and everybody ultimately remembers those years for the playoff failings. But I mean, you're literally talking about a situation where, I mean, in pro football, you went 49-15 in 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like,
It's insane.
I mean, that's like winning 76, 77% of your games.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because you know, in the moment when you're losing in that fashion or just losing at that point of the season every time, you're like, man, this is terrible. And then when you get to where you are now, where you're stuck in like purgatory, like you're saying, you look back, you're like, whew, I'd do anything for those heartbreaks again.
Sometimes you just got to enjoy the ride, man.
Right.
Yeah, I always looked at it like I grew up on when I was a kid, it was Dome Patrol, you know, and back then, I mean, the Saints didn't win the first. I was at the first playoff win when my junior year of high school, when Akeem dropped the fumble, muffed the punt.
Yeah.
You know, Akeem muffs the punt through as a god after all the play-by-play
Brian
call.
Milne has fallen on it.
Yeah, like I think it's all perspective. You know, you grew up, the Saints were not a good organization, and then you got to the level. You know, everybody got spoiled with that Breeze Payton era. That was it never. You know, it's over now, but it felt like it would never end. I mean, it went from 06 to 20. We got 15 damn years of it.
Yeah, it was insane.
And so I just think, it's all perspective. It's kind of how you got to look at it. But I've also got a different mindset. And I know people say it's like a loser's mindset, but like just playing poker for a living just like beats it out of you. And so if you just like are always upset when you don't win championships or win tournaments, then you're just going to be a miserable person in life. And it's no way to live. And so like I try to always like, in perspective, like you said, I mean, as frustrating as those playoffs loss were, I still tried to like say, these are great seasons.
Yeah.
Great times.
Well, problem is you're surrounded by Patriots fans most of the time, and all they know is success. So
but not anymore. Boy, they got struggling there.
Yeah.
How are they doing? I know the people in your life are they all Patriots fans? There's a lot of Patriots fans.
Yeah, Barstool. So not necessarily. I mean, Dave Portnoy and Hank are the big Patriots fans, but it's a mix. Big Cats and Bears fan. I'm in the Chicago office. PFT's a Commanders fan. It's just like a big, there's a lot of Giants and Eagles fans at Barstool because of Northeast presence. But it's just a big mix. Deal Stephen Shea's a big Bucks fan, so we go at it a lot on Saints Bucks stuff. But it's just kind of a melting pot up there, and it's a lot of fun because the biggest thing about the Barstool thing, it's like you look around what corporate media stuff is, and Barstool's just like literally just be yourself.
Yeah.
I couldn't wear a suit and work for ESPN for a day.
No.
That would never work for a personality like mine. But Barstool, they're literally like, we hired you to be yourself, and all we want is for you to be your authentic self. And there's gonna be some ups and downs with it, but they just say just be true to yourself, and that's all we want you to do.
I mean, personally, company culture wise, like that's phenomenal. That's what I always look for in any job.
Well, that's kind of what we've tried to do with our platforms is just give the whole idea is to give people that want to create content the ability to have somewhere to do it.
Yeah.
And however we can help do it is.
Yeah. And even diving deeper, like we've talked about having certain people on, like people are like, oh, you really want to have this person on? You really want to have that? Like Mintzy, just to be completely honest, like you with like things that have happened in the past and things like that. And I'm like, listen, the type of person I am, if someone feels authentic, genuine, or any of that, I want to be around them. I want to know who they are. I want to give them a platform. Obviously, you don't need our platform, but just in general, like that's what I value. So if people are being themselves, I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And like we live in a crazy, world. I mean, I'll touch on it, with what you're talking about for a second. I mean, look, it doesn't take a rocket science to know that I slipped and made a mistake you can't make last year. And anybody that saw it, could tell it was a mistake. I mean, anybody that knows me or knows my character, and I got the benefit of the doubt on that deal more than almost anybody would, because people know what I'm about. And I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a bad heart. I mean, I do everything I can to contribute to charity and use my platform for positive stuff. I'm really involved with hogs. I just ran the St. Jude half marathon, raised a bunch of money for that.
Hell yeah.
I believe in that, and I think people that follow me day to day saw all that, and I'll just say it. I mean, I was as a joke. I was rapping a song, and I was looking at the lyric. You could see me looking at the lyrics on my phone, and I just slipped in the heat of the moment at 8 a.m. on low sleep.
Yeah.
And I instantly turned white, and I knew what I did. I Snap apologized, and she's like, "Look, I there was no harm, no malintent, but that doesn't make it okay. I mean, I realized the mistake I made, and dude, I've had to live with that. Y'all know how heavy that is to live with.
I can imagine.
And I was on, people. This thing went so national. New York Post in London. I see Dave Portnoy, Tucker Carlson talking about it. It was just crazy. But I think, like I said, ultimately. It was kind of one of those things where intent has to matter. It has to. And there was no intent and no ill will. I just slipped reading the lyric, and I think everybody saw that. And, obviously I still regret it. I hate putting myself or anybody in harm. That's not the message I'm trying to live to this world. But luckily, I have Dave Portnoy in my corner, and people realize that anybody that follows me day to day, it knows how I interact day to day. There's no malicious blood in me. But I understand, why it was controversial. I get it because I know the society we live in, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I don't, people are going to think what they want to think. It is what it is. This is America. You have a right to your own opinion. But, I stand by anybody that knows me. Anybody that knows me day to day has had my back 100% in that deal, and I think that's why I've kind of been able to land on my feet in that situation where a lot of others couldn't.
I could say just in the little bit of time that we've talked, just from you walking up into the elevator and coming in here, I can tell that it was, you're a genuine person. There's no.
Dude, that's a hard thing. Like I said, the video I did when Dave rehired me for Brick Watch, I did a video in front on my 40th birthday in front of Gleason's statue. I talked about, dude, that's hard, it's not an easy thing to look around the internet and everybody just say, you're, big racist and that kind of stuff when, that's not who I am in the least.
Yeah.
Right.
So, that was a lot to carry, but I think ultimately, I've been able to, land on my feet and time heal some things. And, to be honest, my relationships, as far as politically, I thought I would get canceled a lot more than I did. A lot of people, the mob really never came for me at all. Pin Gaming did.
Don't poke them. Yeah. Don't poke them.
No, but I'm not gonna poke. Like I said, I didn't mean to, but it never. I don't know. I just, I think it's worked out as good as it could. I still regret it. I'm not gonna sit here. I'm gonna regret getting involved with that every day of my life. I'm just lucky that I've been able to kind of survive it.
Did that play into? I know we mentioned this before, and I genuinely don't know. Did that play into the Barstool night with the Pelicans, or because I know that
all that was before.
Okay.
So the stuff with the Barstool night with the Pelicans. So what got that was what basically happened there was like when you look at the Pelicans, Caesar and FanDuel are huge sponsors. Give big money, give big money. And Barstool had the Barstool Sportsbook.
True.
And, doesn't give $1. And I kind of got warned when we started announced that night, like, hey, you got to be real careful. You can't promote the Sportsbook with Pels because we have these other sponsors. I said, yeah, I get it. Well, my dumb ass, when I did that video on Mardi Gras, the bobblehead video that went so viral, the thing that got me on the happy hour night was I was wearing a Barstool Sportsbook hoodie. And I didn't think, I don't think when I go to my closet, a Barstool Sportsbook hoodie is the same as me putting on a Barstool shirt like I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
But it was different. Like, if I'd have worn a Barstool shirt and not a Sportsbook shirt, when that video did, 4 million views, the video went too viral with me wearing the Sportsbook stuff. And they're like, hey, we have other sponsors. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But my relationship's good with the Pelicans, though. I keep up a lot of people in ticket office and stuff. And, I know y'all have good relationships, too. I try to support them as much as I can. When I'm here, I think I'm trying to make the Monday Night Raptors game.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm still around. And, I love seeing I love what they've done with the atmosphere in there. I love how I really wish my bone to pick is Saints and Pelicans are the same organizations. Whoever DJs in the Pelicans games needs to get their ass in the Superdome because I have a huge beef with the Saints music thing. Nobody wants to hear this heavy metal click, click, pull.
Yeah.
You're in New Orleans.
They do.
Yeah.
They
Play
really,
NOLA rap.
It's
Play
so-
NOLA. Why are we playing all this crap? I get so mad, but then the Pelicans crush it with it.
the Saints are stuck in the generic football music.
Yeah.
And the Pels are fully into.
Oh, yeah.
They have the local artists come down the.
Dude, it's awesome.
They started doing that recently.
Pelicans they've nailed it. It's funny because the Pelicans used to be the one everybody would call out and be like, oh, how are you not in tune with what the city wants? Nobody talked about the Saints. Now it's the opposite.
Well, I thought it was kind of like we were just talking about the 2016 when Michael Thomas and all of them started coming in. They were dancing on the sideline.
Oh,
It kind of
yeah.
felt like it was changing.
Little Choppa style.
And now it's kind of back to they've stuck with Choppa style, but everything else is gone.
Even that now is like,
Yeah,
can we get
that's
that
right.
out of here?
He still plays State of the Crunk 15 years later.
They gotta get. I've been saying for 5 years now. It's time to move on.
Dude, it was a great run.
It was a good run.
Great run. It's just no. I just that's my only beef in there that they gotta kind of do something about that.
Yeah.
But the Pels thing, I love. I try to watch most of the games. I got the NBA package in Chicago. I follow the Pels pretty close, and anyway, it's just God, what a torturous existence being a Pelicans fan is night to night because you can't not see the potential and the talent of the team.
Yeah.
I'm a huge I know he hadn't been as hot lately, but I love Trey Murphy. I just think his potential is limitless. And then obviously Zion and Ingram are both healthy this year, and CJ's actually had a really good bounce back year. He caught so much crap last year, but he played through a million injuries. He was just gassed at the end of the season. He was the guy.
Yeah.
I felt like he caught a lot of shrapnel that he probably didn't deserve because he was the only one that was out there the whole time.
I'm
last
guilty
year.
of that.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was too.
He takes a lot of bad. My thing with
Yeah.
him though, he takes a lot of bad shots.
Yeah.
And I get that he's captain and leader and all that, but he
just tries to play hero a little bit sometimes.
the long fadeaway twos need to,
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating watching their fourth quarters, though. I've gotten to where I'll bet if I'm betting the Pelicans, I just bet them first half. I'm done betting them in these games. They won 14 double-digit leads or whatever.
Yeah.
I've just had it.
I've never felt something more in my life.
Yeah.
to be
It's
honest with you.
crazy, though. The fourth quarter comes, and they quit moving the ball, and, the offense is just here, Ingram at the top of the key, hold the ball until there's 10 seconds left in the shot clock, start dribbling, shoot some mid-ranger, or pass with 3 seconds left and somebody jacks something up. That's the offense.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
And Trey Murphy just stands in the corner, doesn't run off any screens, doesn't do anything. It drives me crazy. But I like Willie Green. I think he's a great players coach. I'm not coming in here coming at him. No one's perfect. The city loves him. I feel like his rotation. There's some stuff that should improve, some rotations and that kind of stuff. But I still like him. I'm not trying to get on here saying they need to can him. I just feel like there's some stuff that needs to improve. But
Absolutely. I think Willie Green's an above average coach. I don't know if he's one of the best coaches in the league.
yeah, I
but
think so too.
He's definitely
players
one
love
of the top
playing,
coaches.
and we're in a different era in NBA, man. The players gotta like the coach. Yeah. The players have so much power. You can't have this my way or the highway. We tried that with Stan Van Gundy. Look how that turned out.
Yeah, it didn't.
So I don't know. I just think it's just the fourth quarter thing. It's just what it is. It's like they turn into a sixth grade team when the game's on the line. It's crazy. It's madness.
It's just what's so frustrating is, like you're saying, they have those moments where Trey's just off doing nothing. Ingram's just dribbling around. But then they have these games where it's beautiful offense.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, why
doesn't
can't
stop.
we do this every time? Like, you don't understand
No, it's
it.
unbelievable. Yeah, and that you just can't. I mean, you're blind if you don't see the potential of the upside.
Yeah.
But but I still, I'll always enjoy supporting it. I think the Pels, I'll support New Orleans sports all the time.
40 minutes.
Okay. Trying to see how far we
Plenty of time.
Trying to see how far we are in. I don't want you guys to have to sit
Oh,
through
you ain't
this.
bothering me, man. I'm running around NOLA today. We're taping this on a Friday. All I have the rest of the day is I got to go buy my Mardi Gras beat throws for Fred,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to work out.
Are
on
you?
my part.
So tell me.
And I'm going to watch parades.
Have you? I'm assuming you've ridden in a parade before.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a silly
yeah,
question.
I've done Fred. Well, I rode in Fred. I rode in the Baton Rouge St. Patty's parade, which is really fun before too.
Yeah.
I did Fred 2 years ago, and man, that's a sensory overload, Max. I mean, there's nothing like riding. I mean, just getting to. It's so different when you ride in it versus being there because you get to see all the different areas of NOLA. You see all the different cultures, and it's intoxicating. I mean, it's done like anything I've ever done, and I'm lucky that I got some buddies that help, for that, so that's my tie to it. I got asked to ride in the Endymion too, but can't do it because it's Super Bowl next week, so maybe I'll do that next year. I want to do that one when the ball goes back to the Superdome next year too.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're still not back there yet. But no, I love getting to do that. And then Shorty Gras, I mean, dude, it's freaking Nelly, Soul Rebels, and Juvenile, Dumpster Funk, who I love. They're one of my favorite NOLA bands. Love Alvin Neville. And Trauma and Shorty is like playing at the end. I mean, like, what a Saturday. Like, how can you beat it? They moved the parade up an hour and a half or 2 hours because we're dealing with some weather tomorrow. But
Where's Shorty Gras at?
it's at Mardi Gras World.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got an Eventbrite ticket link up on my Twitter and Instagram. Anybody wants to buy tickets, do me a favor. Buy them from there. Kind of help promote it. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. We could clip that and get that out sooner too.
I did the Mardi Gras World 2 years ago. It's Shorty Gras, man. It's so much fun. And, know a lot of people going. I'll be in there with my buddy Devin Snow tomorrow night too. I got him and his producer going, so we're gonna probably do some content together. I know he's been on here before too.
Yeah.
Big
Shout
fan,
out.
Shout out
big,
Devin.
Oh yeah, big fan of his.
Hell yeah. I'm trying to think. I had so many questions earlier, and now I'm just like, you know what? I feel like we ran through everything.
I got a few NOLA. I got a couple of NOLA ones for you from back in the day.
Let's do
are
that.
Interesting. All right, so I've got a couple of NOLA stories from back in the day that are worth sharing. My favorite week in New Orleans I ever had was It was like after the Saints won the Super Bowl in 2010. It was late April, and like I mentioned, I was really like all I did. I was a professional poker player from 2006 to 2014. That's all I did. So I used to play at Harris here a lot, play Beaurivage, Biloxi. I was really good on lot. So I had a week where it was the Jazz Fest week, 2010, and on a Tuesday afternoon, I'm playing this $216 poker tournament on Full Tilt. It's an online full F-Tops event, Full Tilt online poker series event. 2,300 people in it. I get one-on-one with the guy. We make a deal. I hit a $200 event for $76,000 on a Tuesday. So immediately when the event was over, me and my sister and two of my best friends went to Clancy's to celebrate, which is part of why Clancy's is one of my most special New Orleans restaurants. Then I hit, that was like Pearl Jam was the Saturday headliner that year. I'm a psychotic Widespread Panic fan. They were the Thursday headliner that year, and they're doing the Thursday first weekend here this year too. I still see a ton of Panic. So I go see, with all my friends to do Panic Thursday, Pearl Jam Saturday after win 76K, and then I rip another 15K online on Sunday. I had a week where I won 90 grand playing online poker.
Hell
to
yeah.
do Jazz Fest. That was my favorite NOLA week ever. And then the other event that I want to share, there was a NOLA story that's interesting. So one of the fascinating things about life is like the ripples in the pond events where if something goes different, everything changes. And one of the ones the one that I always bring up that's not involved me is when Drew Brees failed that physical with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
If Brees doesn't fail that physical when Saban wants him, Saban and Brees fight Brady and Belichick for a decade, then there's no Alabama dynasty, and Brees never ends up in New Orleans, and there's no Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's one of the all-time ripples in the pond moments. Well, the one that was the big one for me in my life story was the 2013 World Series. So New Orleans would have a World Series poker circuit event at Harris every year in mid-May. So there were like 650 people in it, $1,700 buy-in. It's like $250K to first. I'm the chip leader with 13 left, okay? Playing for $250,000. And I'm not going to say that I blew it, but I'm not going to say I didn't either. I overplayed ace-jack suited on the final table bubble when I did. There was no reason for me to do it because I had so many chips. And I screwed, and I ended up busting 8th for like $30K, and the top 4 make a deal for like all got like $120K or more. So
That's tough.
out of that, started a sequence that basically I had to leave the poker world in early 2014. I kind of like had a big poker roll, blew it all, lived above my means down here. Y'all know how New Orleans is. What is it? Idle hands at the devil's playground. Like I would play 10 or 20 hours of poker a week instead of 40 or 50. I'd be at every show. I'd be traveling poker around the country. I'd go travel for Panic. I mean, I was out of control. I mean, there's no getting around it. This was like my late 20s. I was 30. So when that NOLA getting 8th led to me, like when I left New Orleans I left New Orleans in May of 2014 after Jazz Fest. I mean, I was like crawling up I-55 in like the fetal position back to Ole Miss, dude. I mean, like it's like the House of the Rising Sun thing. I was a broken man. I had a lot of highs down here, and then it was pretty bad on the way out. And I always wanted from that moment to kind of like redeem it. But I left New Orleans in 2014, went back, finished went from top 200 in the world in online poker to being a broke college kid at 30, making pizzas and salads at Proud Larry's. Very humbling experience. And then I got into sports radio, did 4 years in Shreveport, Bossier, then got to ESPN Baton Rouge, and then ultimately to Barstool back. So it's been a long and winding road. But that 2013 World Series of NOLA, I'm telling you, like if I win, let's say I win that, or I get top 3 or 4 to get 100-something thousand, there ain't no way in hell I'm going back to Ole Miss and finishing school if I get that money.
Right.
But it's actually one of the themes to my life is every time something bad happens to me, and a lot of bad stuff, but that happens to everybody. It ends up being a blessing somehow. You don't see it at the time.
Yeah.
You go through some stuff at the time. You're like, I don't know how it's gonna be a blessing, but it's better I didn't win that NOLA main because I was partying too hard and I was out of control. Like the path. It was great that I ended up going back to school and working up in the sports media world and getting to Barstool. Like, it's like the old God's timing is always perfect. You just don't know it at the time.
Absolutely.
But those are two of my kind of formative things. But as far as NOLA goes, I still always support music scene. I'll be down here. I'm really involved with Hogs for the Cause. I highly suggest if you've never been to that, it's April 5th and 6th at UNO Lakefront. Last year, raised $3.6 million for families fighting child cancer. We've built wings at Our Lady of the Lakes Children's Hospital in Baton Rouge, the Children's Hospital here, and in Jackson, Mississippi, added their oncology unit. Love that event. I'm part of the team that's Morton Anderson's Mullets, which is Blue Oak out of NOLA, but we've also got Feegis Houston, Home Team Charleston, Fox Brothers Atlanta, Hoodoo Brown Connecticut, Wright Brothers from Arkansas. We've got this big, cool network out of it. Our team raised $360,000 last year. I raised like 50, so I was, part of it. Love that. We'll always be passionate about Hogs. I've been going to that event since like 2010, 2011, since it was founded. And you'll always find me at a weekend of Jazz Fest. And, I'm going to continue Chicago to New Orleans, man, 2-hour flight. Nothing to it. So I'll continue. I don't know that I'll live here again, but I'll, I think you'll always see me having a big footprint down here. And like I said, I love coming on here, and however I can continue to contribute to the city, I'll always do it, and I'll always try to support it. And, that's what it is.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. Obviously, Chicago's not a bad place to live either.
Yeah, the Chicago thing's great. Obviously, the cold weather's a little bit of an adjustment for me. But, man, I don't know how I could have it better. We've got a new $20 million office in West Loop. Yeah. It's all my, I like everybody at Barstool, but, man, the crew we got there, it's all, my favorite people are there. I live in a cool spot in Greektown in West Loop. I got a great spot to live. It's, I'm very happy with my current situation, and I still travel a lot, like I said. So it's, looking forward to getting to spend some summer up there, though.
Let's do this. Let's close out with 2 fun questions. Normally we'll do like popcorn questions. I didn't write down a bunch of popcorn questions, but I have 2 questions that I always ask. I want to know, number 1, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Not rap songs anymore. Okay, I like, dude. I really like. I'm a big Talking Heads guy, so I like Burning Down the House. I like Life During Wartime a good bit. Those sometimes I'll do No Sugar Tonight. Guess Who? Those are kind of some of my favorites. I used to. Like I said, I used to love California Love, but I don't know that. Like I said, I think we firmly put rap karaoke on the back of our
Yeah, just
we learned anything in life, we're good on that. You adjust and you move on.
Yeah, listen, you got to learn from every experience. It's growth.
Mistakes for me.
Growth. It's good. Oh man, I was going to ask your favorite restaurant. We already went through that. What's your favorite sports movie?
Major League. I'm going to go Major League. I just loved there's a big Bob Uecker influence on like when I call play-by-play and stuff. I just as a kid that was always my favorite. And shout out to Bob Uecker, he turned 90 the other day.
Wow.
But his play-by-play in Major League and just made it like that's my favorite. Always loved it.
Yeah, it's a great series. I was trying to. It's for me. It's between that and Rocky. So I'm jumping back.
I was
and
gonna
forth.
say, I think mine changes every time we ask somebody that. I think of mine, and I think it changes every time. It's 42 a lot,
42 is a good one.
and then hardball always kind of creeps in there.
You know, I saw this. There was one of these. I don't know, one of these accounts I follow, and they were going through like the most heartbreaking deaths in movies, and hardball wasn't on there. Man, I was
disrespectful.
So upset. Talk about rip my heart out of my chest when I was a kid, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, that is wild that it didn't make it.
it was brutal. That's it. You got any
right.
other fun questions?
Yeah, fire away. We got anything else? But man, this is great. Like I said, thank y'all for having me. You know, I'll always, anytime you need anything, just reach out.
Hell yeah.
This is really fun to come on, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to get out and this, like I said, this juvenile float shorty draw. I mean, I always say, like, one of the things I always say is I do that IG bags hashtag. It's going to be a great Saturday. Textbook great Saturday in New Orleans coming tomorrow, boys. Textbook.
Hell yeah.
Utter meaning of it. So, but yeah, like I said, I'll be back. I got a wedding I got to go to here in March. I got Hogs April 5th and 6th, and I think I'm going to do the first weekend of Jazz Fest and do the Panic and the Killers. But one of the two Jazz Fest weekends, and so I'll just, my plan going forward, I'll be here about once a month, except during summer when you will never see me here under any circumstances. Because from Memorial Day to Labor Day, there's nothing to be gained in June, July, or August in the city of New Orleans. Like last summer, even when I lived here, I was here like 2 days the whole time. Like
It's hot.
yeah, but it's funny because now my winters in Chicago, it's like pick your poison because now I get it on the winter in Chicago.
Yeah.
But no, the summers in NOLA, there's, like I always say, NOLA, best 9-month of year town in the country. But those 3 months, I mean, even to September is bad, but at least football is going on at that point.
You just got to find somebody with a swimming pool and hang out.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's that sticky, man. That heat just can't breathe.
I take the
air.
heat. I can't do the cold. That
Dude.
cold just it hurts.
A couple
It
weeks
hurt-
ago in Chicago, it was like for a whole week. It was cold down here even. That Northern blast came
Oh,
up.
yeah, it's rough.
Dude, it was -6, 20-mile-an-hour winds every time. You don't understand. No matter how many layers of clothes you have on, when you're outside in that, you feel naked. It doesn't matter what you have on.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather.
I mean, you walk outside, there's like a Whole Foods 2 blocks from my building. And I walk out and I've got layers all over me. I got a beanie on. The only thing that's not covered are my cheeks and my face. And like I'm on a 6-minute walk and my cheeks are frozen. It's like, this is crazy.
We're heading out. Me and my wife are heading out to Nashville on Thursday for the weekend, and
Doing the Dodge Mardi Gras deal.
yeah. Well, actually, when I booked it, I didn't realize it was Mardi Gras
Early
weekend
Mardi
at the
Gras.
time.
Early Mardi Gras.
It threw me off.
Go check out the Barstool Bar off Broadway. It's a spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's throwdown. I'm going for the SEC tournament in Nashville next month.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check it out. But I was looking, it was just really cold over those last couple of weeks or whatever. And we got a buddy that lives up there that does some Pels content for us.
Yeah.
And I text him, I'm like, what kind of weather am I looking at? Because I don't have sub 15-degree clothes. Like, I don't
Nashville
even.
gets a little colder than you think. It really does.
It's looking good right now. It's looking like 40s during the day or 40s at night, 60s during the day. Perfect. But that sub 15 that it was, I was like, I don't even know if can planes operate that? I don't know.
Shoot, we'll keep talking about this. I'm going to Park City in a month and a half.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, I'm not ready for it. We're going snowboarding, and I'm
fun.
so worried that I'm gonna be frozen the whole damn time. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah, that sounds awesome, bro.
7 layers. That's me. All right, let's close this out. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate Mintzy for coming on. Obviously, we'll chat for a second here after. But, until next time, follow us everywhere. Be in the know on Twitter, theknow.com, YouTube, be in the know, all that stuff. So, at whoever knows.
Yeah, thank y'all again for having me. And stay in touch. Happy to come on again sometime down the line.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it.
That's it.
All love.
Deuces.